Hi there folks, Phoenix Aurelius here. Thank you for joining me for this laboratory report for January 2024 for the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy. January is a little bit slower than some of the other former months before this that we have updated tons of products being released, but we have made some really awesome headway and some impact on some new research and done a couple of other really fascinating things. So starting in the lab, we started and finished a 900 ml batch of Polyus Ant spagyric tincture. This is the second spagyric tincture that I have worked on using an ultrasonication, prolonged ultrasonication method, where I have got a 100% dissolution of the salts into the tincture, which is not a very common thing. It is if we use just potassium acetate, but if we're using potassium carbonate, that does not usually happen. But by being able to use the ultrasonication, we're changing the surface exposure of the acids that could be dissolved inside of that tincture with the salts and creating some really awesome, cool, and unique reactions. The only other formulation that I saw this with was with the Gifts of the Magi, where we have frankincense and myrrh. Both of those are also very rich in various acids, and Polyus Ant has a lot of acids. Now, I've tested this prolonged ultrasonication method with a few other things, including Go-To Cola and I think Golden Seal and Bacopa, Capivine as well. There's a good number of other things that I've tested this with. The same amount of time, everything, split testing, and we're not getting dissolution of salts in everything. So it looks like things that are going to be primarily rich in acids are the lowest common denominators of what we're looking at right now, but there's future research to be done in this regard. I've also been experimenting with CBD for upregulating vitamin D receptors and vitamin D response elements. One thing that a lot of people don't understand is that vitamin D is downregulated by THC and it's upregulated by CBD. So people in the winter who are oftentimes utilizing cannabis in order to manage their depression symptoms or seasonal depression and other types of things like this, even though it can create a relatively temporary effect of alleviating that depression, it is also slowing down the vitamin D response elements and the vitamin D receptors inside of the body, preventing the cells from actually responding to vitamin D. And this is really important because vitamin D is used for an entire host of genetic replication. It's also used, of course, for calcitriol, which is hormonal vitamin D. It's used for the brain, it's used for bone density, it's used in tons of different biological processes, and it ends up decreasing the deeper and deeper and deeper we get into winter. So being able to utilize something like CBD or hemp can really help with that. What I've noted is that hemp itself does not typically in a tincture form exist in a strong enough CBD concentration in order to bring up vitamin D response elements and vitamin D receptors to any significant degree in just a couple of doses, whereas if we fortify a hemp tincture with CBD isolate, then we can actually begin to see that the vitamin D response elements and the vitamin D receptors tend to be a lot more active over a shorter period of time. When I'm saying a shorter period of time, we're talking about, say, 10 to 20 drops a day over a period of 3 to 5 days. The vitamin D levels naturally go up, and even small amounts of sunlight go up and start to get converted into vitamin D because those vitamin D response elements and receptors are so tonified. There are also a great number of other benefits too, including the decrease of inflammation, the flushing of parasites and bacteria and fungi and other different types of things from the body using this method. So there's a lot more research to do in this area, but it's a fascinating area of research and something that I'm really passionate about right now. So I keep looking into this, and as I find out more, I'll let you guys know more. We also blended up 900 mils of Heavy Metal Detox RX, and because that used the last of the bulk tinctures that I have on hand in order to blend this up, I had to create 2 new batches, 900 ml batches each, of Chlorella pyrenoidosa as well as fresh cilantro spagyric tinctures, and those are finished and on the shelf and ready to go. Let's see, I've also blended up 8 kilos of Shilajit, both for ourselves in our store as well as our white label clients. And many of you probably noticed that we have now launched our Alpine Gold Shilajit label. We think that Alpine Gold is the new standard, the new gold standard of Shilajit. Using deuterium depleted distilled water really causes us to rise head and shoulders above the rest. Not only that, but the filtration down to 0.03 microns is absolutely extraordinary, completely clean. We think that it's the best product that we've ever tried and tasted. And of course, we are biased, but we'd love to know what you think. And for those of you who have already tried the Rocky Mountain Mumio, the product is essentially the exact same thing. The only difference is new label. And that does change a few things, of course, like we learned with Masaru Emoto, whatever is on the label or written on a bottle or whatever changes the way that the water is imprinted. So we think that all of the love that we've put into this new label really helps to give us the very best vibration and signature to this product. We'd love to hear, especially if you're energetically sensitive, what you think. Speaking of labels, we've been designing some new spagyric tincture labels. I mentioned that during our last laboratory report for December 2023. And these are, at the time that I'm making this video, these are just about ready to send off to the printer. So they are very, very cool labels. We are looking at probably printing them on hemp and post-consumer waste material in order to further avoid unnecessary deforestation and mono-farming of trees, especially in the Pacific Northwest. Let's see, we have also interviewed a few folks for the Alchemiculture podcast. I think I talked with Crichton Miller and Warren Kistenbroker and a couple of other individuals during the month of January. Those episodes are scheduled out and won't be released probably for quite a while. I think we're releasing one episode on Thursdays every 2 weeks. And so some of the podcast episodes that I recorded during this month, you may not actually see until March or April, but it was a really great time interviewing them. I've had a wonderful time, a whole wonderful season actually interviewing people since late fall of 2023 up until early, I guess, very early spring or very late winter of 2024. And now I'm kind of switching gears and starting to focus on course development and class content. We're going to be offering a lot of Zoom classes here very soon. A couple of the things we're going to be offering are going to be Transpersonal Alchemy, which is basically applying alchemy to our psycho-spiritual and physiology in order to eliminate our traumas and move past our traumas and open up like what we're actually here to be doing as human individuals. Even people who aren't interested in the laboratory work, this is the form of alchemy that I think is the most important for them to understand. Being able to see how these patterns play out in nature, how they play in the laboratory, and how we can transfer these to the inner laboratory is a very, very important application. There's not a single human being I can imagine that wouldn't be able to make use of this in a really grand way to accelerate their own life and to become a much happier, healthier individual. So we'll be teaching that. I'll also be teaching alchemy. Again, alchemy differs from spagyria in that you have to know alchemy perfectly well in order to even begin to practice spagyria. Spagyria is something that is born out of the alchemical tradition, and alchemy is a self-initiated pathway of understanding nature and mastering nature, and getting to see nature as a lover instead of a mother, where we can see and meet her eye to eye, as opposed to looking at her as kind of a mother and acting like rebellious children that need to be cleaned up after. So this is a very important initiatic pathway, and I'm going to be teaching some alchemical classes, starting with a course that I've taught many, many times, but it's now framed under Aurelian alchemy, being the precursor to teaching people how to perform Aurelian spagyria, which is going to be called Embarking Upon the Alchemical Path. I also have a number of other classes and courses that I'll be teaching, specifically around psychic development. This is going to be great for people who are interested in going further and having more precise results with their SE5 and intrinsic data field work. And then I'm also going to be teaching SE5 and intrinsic data field work. So if you haven't already and you are interested in picking up an SE5, go ahead and reach out to us at support@phoenixaurelius.org. Or from the time of watching this video, you might only have to wait a couple of days to a week, and then we will have information and those units available for sale actually on our website as well. We've been an authorized reseller for a long time. Many people have picked up their units from us, but we will make those much more available here very soon. And we have been doing a lot of back-end work that you won't see on the website right away, but within a very short time of the time that this video releases, you will begin to see all of these new pages on a research section where we'll be talking a lot more about the SE5 work and intrinsic data fields and explaining them and offering courses and classes and stuff like that. So yeah, that's been a huge part of what I've been doing, is laying out the groundwork for a lot of these courses, and also creating text and other things to describe the classes and when they're going to be, doing organizational stuff like that, as well as coming up with participants who are willing to have their photos and names and other things shared as we work on them as research subjects for the purpose of the class. So lots of fun things are going on, and we are building out the research section of our website to include more research around our alchemiculture concepts. Of course, agricultural methods will be one of the things that I've researched the most about, and that will be on there. But we also have some things about like cosmology and astronomy and other different types of things that will make their way onto that alchemiculture area of the research page before long. The research that I have, the clinical wellness research, is so overwhelming and so difficult to be able to compile and even summarize with all of the case studies that I'm still working on those things, but that's probably going to take the longest amount of time to be able to create a lot of case study data on that area of the site. But over time, that research section of the site will be where all of those types of things go, in addition to, like I mentioned, all of the IDF stuff. And we have some cool ways that people can participate in IDFs that are coming out so that you don't have to own your own SE5. We have some IDF solutions that I don't have permission to speak about yet, that Living from Vision are developing, and that is a really, really cool thing. I can't wait until I have clearance to speak to the general public about this. But in the meantime, we will have custom-made Chio chips. So for any of you who want your own Chi organizer or already have a Chi organizer, we'll be able to custom program chips for you. You'll be able to buy those online. Same thing with crystal talismans. I'm putting together a bunch of different types of shall we say, standardized broadcasts that are generalized and applicable to anybody and everybody, that will be available on there. We'll also be able to create custom IDF hologram cards, Chio hologram cards, Chio hologram chips, lots and lots of different things, talismans, etc., for Enzastrale, for specific curses, hexes, jinxes, psychic attack, the evil eye, negative entities, a wide range of different types of things that are kind of like personalized to you. And if you guys are interested in having your own custom chips made, those will also be on the site before long too, where for I think it's 50 cents per tuning, and the base price of either the crystal or the card or the chip or whatever option you want, you'll be able to give us up to 100 different tunings that you want, that you create, that I can custom program into the system and program into that that card, that hologram, that talisman for you. And the cool thing is, especially with the crystals and holograms, you don't need to have a broadcast instrument like this in order to broadcast it to your biofield. These things add a little bit of extra oomph, but because when they get in touch with your biofield, they are generating those tunings, your biofield itself actually acts as the thing that is actually broadcasting that. We will have scalar wristbands too that use a piezoelectric charge and a Likovsky antenna that are able to better broadcast that than even the crystals. And we have scalar balance mats too, for those of you who want to be able to sit on something. I keep one in my truck all the time. I keep one over at my desk all the time. I'm constantly sitting on one. For a period of time, I was also sleeping on one. I put one of these under each one of the water dispensers that we have, both here in the lab as well as up in our own kitchen. So we use the scalar balance mats and wristbands and Chio instruments and all sorts of things here at the Phoenix Aurelius Research Academy, and have for years, and we've tested and split tested efficacy between all of these things. And really, the only difference is a little bit of punch. The tunings still get broadcasted no matter what option you have. So there's going to be a little something in every price range, just depending on what you want and what you're looking for. But some of those generic programs would be like for EMFs and 5G and other different types of protections where we include IDF tunings for those. We'll have other ones for the entire biofield and for vitality levels, for general good energy, positive energy, for meridians and chakras, which is to say astral and etheric bodies. There's going to be quite a few different offerings here on the website before long. So new fun ways for all of you guys to be able to experience and work with intrinsic data fields, even if you aren't necessarily interested in becoming an IDF technician yourself. So with all that being said, I'm sure there's a few more things. There's always a few more things that I forget to mention, but if you have any questions for us, please don't hesitate to reach out to support@phoenixaurelius.org. And until next month, my friends, keep well. Many blessings of happiness and health to you all.